morning.
Good morning.
In a minute, I'm going to hand this over to our platform assistant, Kathy. But I wanted to mention this morning, for those of you who know our board president, Mary Alice Collins, she has been with us for 20 plus years. And she actually has been our board president off and on throughout those years. Her husband, Jerry, passed on Tuesday. And it was very unexpected. He went to sleep that night, he didn't feel well, and he did not wake up in the morning. That's the best way to go though, right? I mean, I'm like, I want to go that way. But it was obviously a tremendous shock to Mary Alice. And the beautiful thing is she is so loved, and she's got angels both in the physical and the non-physical, just really supporting her and comforting her. So just keep Mary Alice, if you would, in your thoughts, prayers, and your heart for love and comfort and strength during this time. And we know that the beauty is, as painful as that loss is, we know that God is love. And in that love, Jerry now safely dwells. We trust the eternal welfare of his soul into God's tender care and keeping. And so it is.
Thank you, Natalie.
We also have a card that you can sign for Mary Alice, so I'm going to start it going around. And it's quite okay to sign it and pass it along. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing that. And for those of you who know Mary Alice, she is such a blessed soul, and we really send our love to her. So, good morning, everyone. How's everybody?
Good morning.
Great, that sounds good. I like to hear that. Well, you are at Unity, and we welcome you. Unity is a global, inclusive spiritual community offering practical tools and uplifting resources to help people of all walks of life apply positive spiritual principles in their daily lives. So, yay, Unity.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. We ask that you silence your cell phones. Thank you. And I just share a little bit with you. And two older gentlemen, Fred and Sam, went to see a movie. Nearly minutes into the movie, Sam heard Fred rustling around. It appeared that he was reaching under all the seats. "What on earth are you doing, Fred?" asked Sam. Fred angrily responded, "I had a caramel in my mouth and it dropped out. I'm trying to find it." Annoyed, Sam told him not to worry about it. "We'll get another caramel for you a little bit later." "But I've got to find it," said Fred, exasperated. "My teeth are in it." A woman told a friend, "I feel like my body has gotten totally out of shape. So I got my doctor's permission to join a fitness club and start exercising. So I decided to take an aerobics class for seniors. I bent and I tussled and I gyrated and I jumped up and down and perspired for an hour. By the time I got my leotards on, the class was over. And that's the way it is.
Good morning, everybody.
Good
morning.
I would just like to announce and remind you all of my workshop today after service from 1 to 2:30. In this workshop, we're going to be learning about the science of how your nervous system affects your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. I am very passionate about this work as I feel it has helped me move from a debilitated state into a positive thinking and feeling state. And I'm a very deeply spiritual person, but my favorite part in life is where woo-woo meets science. And so I have bridged that gap, and I would love you all to come and learn a little bit more about how stress reacts or how stress affects you in your daily life. Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope as many of you can attend as possible. Well, today is our first Sunday in June, so it's June's birthday time. So I think we have, yes, a song for our birthday and some gifts. So who has a June birthday? Stand up, stand up. Stand up, yes! We have some new people here today. We'll talk to them a little bit later.
'Cause you are here, we wait for this day to come. All year,
Congratulations, June birthdays.
yes, we praise you and hold you dear. Happy birthday to you, celebrate. Happy birthday to you, rock your day.
One more quick announcement. We have a resident artist, Melissa Wheeler. Melissa, would you please just stand just so make sure everybody knows who you are? Yes. She was the one who dedicated our 25th anniversary with this beautiful piece of art. If you haven't seen it here, it's the Unity's 12 Towers. And she attended our white stone ceremony on Easter. And for those of you who know the white stone ceremony, we go through a meditation where we listen for a word, and her word was give. She gave me permission to share that this morning. And so it's important to her that she's able to share and give her beautiful pieces of rock art and these special bookmarkers, which she has created just for Unity and to celebrate Pride. The Unity, most of you know that Unity's original logo was the ancient Egyptian wings. And so she created, what do you call it? A lithograph so that she can stamp every one of them with those original wings. They're awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for those gifts.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am reading today. And I knew that. I really did. I might have forgotten a bit, but I knew that. And our word for today is open. And if you will say with me our affirmation,
I am open and receptive to my good.
My openness is the measure of my willingness to receive. Doors are significant symbols. I would ask each of you to think of a door. Is the door that you see in your mind's eye open or shut? If it's shut, open it. See open doors, not closed ones. The open door is symbolic of an open state of mind, a feeling that life welcomes, guides, and blesses us. The open door is a symbol of uninterrupted passage, a shift from one state of consciousness to another. Think of anything that has seemed to you to be a closed door and affirm, there are no closed doors. The door to my good is always open. There are no closed doors to health. There are no closed doors to happy relationships. There are no closed doors to comfort, peace, or success. Envision the great open door that the universe and its love and goodness represent. And now open your consciousness to receive all the good that it has for you. And once again, our affirmation is, we'll say it together.
I am open and receptive to my good.
And so it is.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference.
God, grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom, oh, the wisdom to know the difference.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know the difference. Oh, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference, the wisdom to know, the wisdom to know, the wisdom to know the difference.
Okay, this is my last time up here, but I'm gonna be here a while. What triggers you? I understand they're trying to move away from using that particular word, trigger, because of the connotation where it actually comes from. So I like the word hook, because there's a lot of hooks out there these days. Those things that sort of hook you in, draw you in, pull you in, and then usually have some kind of an emotional response for you, or us, or not. So I wanted to share with you today something that happened recently and the unity response to it. And so it's a little bit of reading, but it's an important share that I'd like to offer you. And there are a few copies on the back table if you decide that you would like to take it with you. In Unity, we affirm the inherent dignity, worth, and spiritual identity of every person. We recognize that humanity expresses its relationship with the divine through many paths, traditions, and sincere convictions. Recently, the U.S. Department of Defense made changes to their religious classification system, which significantly reduced the number of recognized faith identifiers. There were 180, and I think they went down to 30. So while administrative systems may change, unity holds that no list can define or limit the universal presence of God, nor the authentic spiritual lives of individuals. We believe that honoring religious and spiritual diversity strengthens our shared humanity. The ability for individuals to see their faith tradition acknowledged supports belonging, spiritual well-being, and the free exercise of religion. Our teachings remind us there is only one presence and one power, active in all people and in all faiths. Truth is not confined to any single tradition, but is revealed in diverse ways across humanity. Can I get an amen? Spiritual care is most meaningful when it honors the unique beliefs and lived experiences of each individual. We join with others across faith traditions in affirming the importance of religious inclusion, compassionate care, and the freedom of every person to name and live their faith authentically. We hold in prayer all who serve and all who support them, that they may experience belonging, respect, and access to the spiritual support that nourishes their lives. In all things, Unity remains committed to being a voice for inclusivity, understanding, and love in action. So, that's a precious, precious gift, and we hold it. Let us, before we get too far into things, let's do our attunement. We started doing this at the beginning of our series that we're ending today. And this is specifically an attunement that comes from conscious channeler Paul Selig. So I invite you, and if you want to close your eyes or take a deep breath, something to sort of bring your awareness into that more expansive place of unity and oneness. And then we'll attune together. I am in the upper room. I have come, I have come, I have come. Behold, I make all things new. God is, God is, God is. And so it is. We do have a couple of new folks here today, and you'll be recognized later, but just to sort of try to bring you up to where we're starting today. We are exploring the book by Rev Ken Daigle of Unity in San Francisco, his book, Unapologetic Manifestations. And we've been looking at the 5 steps to manifestation from his book. And so I'm wondering, I know this is really putting you on the spot, but if there's somebody who has one maybe sentence summing up, focus your mind, the first step. We talked about the garden of your mind and the importance of focusing on what you want in there and rooting out what you don't want. Shift your consciousness, anyone? So we talked about shift happens or not. And that there's actually 4 levels of spiritual consciousness. And I think I have a slide for this a little bit later, but I'll go ahead and mention now that there's a sheet on the back table where if you would like to explore through a journal, workbook type thing, we have a free one that takes you through weeks of processing each level of consciousness, from victimhood, which we all go there at times, all the way up to that oneness consciousness. And then we talked about taking concrete steps.
Nothing works unless you believe.
It's important to actually take action on your beliefs. And we're going to do our meditation on that later today. And then last week we talked about sharing your journey and the importance of having at least some outlet for sharing at the deepest level. And he called it the 3rd vault. So that's stuff that we don't just share with every passing stranger, but what is really, really most important to us. And then finally today, it's feeling sort of like the last day of school. And I'm expecting there to be some spitballs and rowdiness. Well, not from this group, apparently. You know right. Eloquently spoken from the teacher. Past teacher anyway, counselor now. So be open. And it's also sort of that feeling of trying to squish everything into the last talk in the series. So I'm also calling it, I've had a name for another name, kind of a smart alecky name for every one of the steps. And this last one is believe it or not. What do you believe about our world? And are you open? Are you open here? Are you open here? I've been pretty open throughout my life. And again, this is something that my parents demonstrated, modeled for me. But I have seen in my lifetime, and I'm sure that you have too, think back to Star Trek. Is there anybody who did not watch Star Trek? And those little communicators they had, beam me up, Scotty. Well, we're not beaming people up yet, but we've come we've brought that little communicator they were using a long way. How many of us have seen stuff that used to be sci-fi become day to day? And so, they say, is it art that sort of makes what we experience, or is it the other way around? Which one really creates the other. And I wanted to mention, I was going to mention, I'll mention it. I hope nobody's offended, but there was a movie that came out in, actually in 1997, I think it was. It was Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman, and it was actually a Black comedy. So, you know how Black comedies aren't always funny, but somebody thought that they were supposed to be funny. That's why they called it a comedy. But it was called Wag the Dog. And I remember seeing it and thinking that was really, really in poor taste. And now, how many years later is that? 30 years later, life is imitating art. We have that very experience of what was called, it's a political move, wag the dog, when you try to bring attention to one thing to get attention off something else. So, what do you believe about our world, your world? Are you exploring? Are you saying, I don't believe anything anymore? I'm getting sort of to that point where it's like, I don't know what to believe anymore. And, you know, if spirit has its way, that sort of would be a good place to have us. Like, you don't need to know. You don't need to make things in the outer extreme and important. You need to be focused on the peace that you create within you, the love that you pour out from within you. So I love that, you know, YouTube, I can get on there and every day I listen to at least one channeler or psychic medium, or, you know, I'm like, yeah. And some of them, you know, I think, nah, not so much. And then there are some that it just goes right in here. There's just a truth. There's a, you know how when you hear truth or you see truth, you just kind of like, oh, yeah, that sounds true. That sounds true. So I'm expecting, and you can laugh at me, that's okay. But I'm expecting at some point there will be a fleet of unidentified aerial phenomenon in our sky. And they will be coming in peace. And many of us, though, will not either be able to even see them because they have not been open. Or if they do see them and they live in fear, then they will have a very, very challenging time with that. So back to this concept of, you know, what we're seeing on the world stage and what we do with that. And because I have gotten communication, I sent out an email just this last week about the people who talk about how difficult it is to manage that our nervous systems need support right now. And I'll tell you, the first time that I went to Amanda's workshop and she talked about and moved us through relaxation in certain areas for the nervous system. And she said something, she told me to relax a part of me that nobody had ever told me to relax before. And I'm not gonna tell you what it is up here, but I give Amanda permission to tell you in the workshop. I know it is. And so what do we do with the shadow that is being uncovered and revealed throughout the world. It's been hidden all these years. And it was sort of like only the very intuitive and the very in tuned that knew it was going on. And so now everybody knows. And we had to come to that point because there's only one way to heal the shadow, to heal the darkness, and that's with the light, y'all. And we are the light. Stand up, be the light, stand up and be your light, shine. Yeah. Yes, that's the power right there, the light. Revealing the shadow, uncovering it, beaming the power of our love and our brilliance. And yeah, you can sit down. And the holy, eternal, courageous souls that we are. These, when you connect with one of these folks that are really, really tuned in, and they're saying that, this is all part of the process. It had to be revealed. It can't continue to be a secret so that it can be healed. And that there's great things in store for us. More challenges, absolutely, always. In fact, some say, when you're met out there in the galaxy, when you're a soul, when you're in a non-physical, and they'd be like, "You've been to Earth. Wow, you're courageous." And then I've also heard, that there are souls waiting to be the next person in a physical body here on Earth to experience this wild and crazy ride. So is that enough of believe it or not? So Ken, in this particular chapter, actually talks about a number of different tools for opening up, to be open. And we're going to talk about two of them today. First one is, there's that statement about the free journal workbook, if you want to put your name on a piece of paper back there, that will take you through those 4 stages of spiritual consciousness. Well, let's say our affirmation together. It's the one that Fran gave us with expanded a little bit. Together, I am open to infinite field possibilities, and I receive my good. The infinite field, we were just talking about that this morning. And then these are what are called the 4 centers of intelligence in your body. You know that we have the chakra centers, and in Unity we have our 12 power centers. It doesn't have to be either or. It can be both and. And so I want to just visit these briefly. We all are familiar with the IQ. We know that there's intelligence in our brain. This is the classic intellectual center measured by the IQ, the intelligence quotient. But did you know that there's also an EQ, our emotional quotient? So understanding both our own emotions and those of others, and of course managing our emotions. So it's not ours to manage anybody else's emotions, but that's how emotionally intelligent we are, is our ability to handle and manage our emotions. Research shows that EQ is often a stronger predictor of success than IQ because it fosters the emotional awareness and social skills necessary for building meaningful connections. Did you know there's a little brain in your gut? Neuroscientists have confirmed that the gastrointestinal tract, often referred to as our second brain, contains more than 100 million neurons. We think of neurons as being up here. More than the spinal cord, allowing it to influence our mood, decision-making, and overall well-being. Trusting our gut is not just a figure of speech, it's an acknowledgement of the gut's powerful, intuitive role in helping us make decisions aligned with our highest good. And finally, the heart. And the heart also has a little brain. And so I have a very short clip that I'm going to share with you about, that comes directly from HeartMath Institute, who's done a lot of research on that, what they call coherence between the brain and the heart. And so here they talk about, oh, that's where we're gonna switch over. Amanda and I are gonna do a little magic here. All right, here it is.
Did you know that your heart has an incredible, unique intelligence unto itself? Or that it has a significant influence on our perceptions, emotional experiences, and higher mental processes? And did you know that the heart can actually sense your emotional response to an event before the event has occurred? You may have instinctively felt that the heart was so much more than a blood pump, but science has actually confirmed it. Researchers discovered that the heart has its own intrinsic nervous system that sends a lot of information to the brain, affecting the way we feel, think, and perceive. In fact, the heart actually sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. Scientists refer to this as the little brain in the heart. But don't let the diminutive name fool you. The heart-brain can act independently of the brain in your head. Its neurons have long-term and short-term memory and extensive sensory capacities. The heart and brain communicate with each other in a complex dance.
It was a little longer, but I need to cut things short because we're doing more movies today. I mean, it is the last day of school. What would you expect? So that's a very brief description of those 4 intelligence centers. The other path for opening or being open, opening up, that Ken talks about in the book is the work of Byron Katie. How many of you are familiar with the work of Byron Katie? We've actually, over the years, done a lot with her work, but it has been many, many years, and she is still very much going strong in La Jolla, California, and the School for the Work, which is a 10-day school residence, which Barry and I attended 15 years ago. I don't know, it's amazing. The teaching is amazing. So I want to introduce to you Byron Katie.
So the work is a way to identify and question the thoughts that cause all the suffering in the world, all the suffering in your life. I spent 3 years when the work found me just alone in the desert, to just get away from everyone and just be in this hunger to understand. And there is this small little grocery store, and I walk in, and near the produce over by the apples, it was this woman. She had these 2 large shopping bags, one in each hand. And then I lost all reference, which happened quite frequently for a while. I said, "Would you hold me, please?" And she put these bags down immediately. And she wrapped her arms around me and she started rocking me and singing a lullaby. And that's from the universe. And that's how I experience every human being, every cat, dog, and tree. It's who we are without our story. I think people would describe me as ordinary, and there's nothing about me that would stand out. So I had a very usual life, high school, couple of years of college, married, then 3 children, and then divorce, and then married, and then a depression hit. It was so deep, so dark, so nonstop. I spent years, more than a decade, of an agoraphobic experience, terrified of leaving my home. Often I couldn't leave my bedroom. Life is so painful. For my children, I was so full of guilt and shame that they would see me that way. It was a horror. It was a prison with no way out. Then one day, my husband brought me to this halfway house recommended by this doctor. I was introduced to 3 women, and they said I frightened them to the point that they didn't want me in the house. But they said there is an attic, and it would be better if I stayed there. And I was just a yes to everything. I was in the surrendered state. My self-esteem was so low, I didn't believe I even deserved a bed to sleep in. One day, as I lay sleeping on the floor, a cockroach ran over my foot. And I opened my eyes, and before the ego could intervene in that space, I saw how my entire world was created. Ego naming things I was seeing: light, window, ceiling, walls, naming the unnameable. Prior to that, there was no identification. There was no I, there was no world. I was seeing this body as it. It stood up. It walked. And just out the door, it faced a mirror and looked into the depth of those eyes. And it was as though I met myself. Love happened. I saw that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. And when I didn't believe them, I didn't suffer. My husband and children came to get me, and the shift they experienced in me, it was unrecognizable. I didn't know I had my family until I was being identified. I'm a woman. I have a husband. I have 3 children. I have a home. I'd start to walk out the door, this agoraphobic, and my husband would say something like, "Where do you think you're going, Kate?" And I would just think that is one of the most amazing questions I've ever heard. Where the hell do I think I'm going? The excitement of the don't know, I have no idea. In the desert, the wind can blow hard for several days, and I loved it. The adventure of meeting the world. It was just falling in love with everyone and everything. People would say, there's this crazy woman that talks about making friends with the wind. But other people would call and say, "Can you help me?" And obviously their minds were open. I'd say yes. I would just listen to them talk, and they would tell me their problems. Like, my husband left me, or there's something wrong with me, or I'll never find work. I've got cancer. I'm dying. I ask 4 questions. The first one is it true? And then the next question is, can you absolutely know it's true? And then, how do you react when you believe the thought? And then that 4th question, who are you without the thought? Suffering, I've come to see, it's optional to anyone that has the courage to answer the questions. Life is a gift, and anyone can do this work if the mind's open to it. So it feels very poignant for us to end this talk series with an introduction or reintroduction of Byron Katie, because I'm now inspired to really bring her back into our community and the work that we're doing here. She has a wonderful tool for being open. I'll just leave it at that. And I'm going to close the message today with a little section of lesson 158 in A Course in Miracles. I walk with God in perfect holiness. You cannot walk the world apart from God, because you could not be without God. God is what your life is. Where you are, God is. There is one life. That life you share with God. Nothing can be apart from God and live. So it is. So we're going to go ahead and go back into the other. So I'm just going to escape. I'm going to go ahead and have us hear our song today.
Oh, come on, somebody's got to stand up with me.
Everybody got a little something only you can bring. It's impossible to put it all together. Need every piece to make it complete, yeah. Every note to make a symphony. All the voices singing harmony. All the colors of the rainbow shining. Everyone, everyone. Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. I feel you insignificant, like a tiny little grain of sand. What you do, what you say makes a difference. Go ahead and reach out your hand. Open it up, say hello. The stranger today, you might get to know. Little love just keeps on growing, changing life without even knowing. Say yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. It takes everyone, everyone, everyone. With a little more love. It doesn't matter where you come from, gender, race, spiritual beliefs, orientation. Everyone has got the same motivation. Love is love, the same situation. Give it up and help one another. In this world, there's only each other. One breath, the human race. If you feel the same, let me hear you say yes, yes, say yes, say yes, say yes. With a little more.
Thank you, y'all. Really comfortable.
Wow, how do you follow that? Thank you, Natalie. That was beautiful, amazing, and very informative. And yeah, I'm excited to get back into Byron Katie. That was a part of my husband and I's life for a while and kind of went by the wayside. So this is our time to welcome guests. And I know we have two very special guests here, Maggie and Karen. Would you stand? And everybody give them a welcome. They are delightful people that you will want to learn to know. So
Today is Maggie's birthday.
yes, and I saw they both stood for June. So
Yes.
that's exciting.
Maggie's birthday today.
Today.
Yes, today. Let's celebrate. Okay. Are there any other guests here today? I think not. So thank you so much for coming. And now we move into our time of giving, and we have our little baskets under the chairs, and you can share, or we have our Tic Tac machine back there. If you'd like to give, we appreciate any gifts at all. You know that, large or small. So thank you for sharing and giving to Unity. And let's say our giving and receiving affirmation together.
Today, I feel deeply blessed and grateful for the goodness that surrounds me. I effortlessly attract opportunities, joy, and love, aligning my energy with the life I dream of living. I trust that the universe is guiding me as I step closer to my highest potential.
And so it is.
Holy light, thank you for my life. Holy light, thank you for my life. It shines so bright here and now, here and now.
Pump up, everybody. It's time for our pump up positivity. All right, just one second. All right, so Loving Day is celebrated each year on June 12th. It commemorates the landmark 1967 U.S. Supreme Court decision, Loving versus Virginia, which struck down laws banning interracial marriage in the United States. The case centered on Mildred Jeter, a Black and Native American woman, and Richard Loving, a white man, who married in Washington, D.C. to avoid Virginia's anti-miscegenation laws. After returning home, they were arrested, convicted, and forced to leave the state for 25 years. The Lovings did not seek the spotlight. They simply wanted to live as husband and wife in their hometown. But their quiet courage became a catalyst for change. With the help of the ACLU, their case reached the Supreme Court, which ruled unanimously that marriage is a fundamental right and that restricting it based on race is unconstitutional. Loving Day is more than a legal anniversary. It is a celebration of love's power to overcome prejudice. And I just think it is so fitting that their last name is Loving.
Love it. Yay. Okay, my God. I went ahead and changed it, Amanda, so that Jerry can come on down and do the
This
Qigong.
must be me.
Yes.
Okay, for the new people that aren't familiar with Qigong, or that may not be familiar with Qigong, Qi means energy, life energy that's in us and all around us. Gong means practice or work. So we're going to do a set of exercises designed to balance the energies, the yin and yang energies inside us. And we always start by getting into the Qigong standing posture with feet somewhat shoulder width apart, somewhat parallel. Knees slightly bent as in locked and released. Pelvic is slightly tucked. Spine is erect but relaxed. Arms dangling, relaxed. Head and neck aligned with the spine. Just feel yourself in the present with that posture. This chi we're going to work with, we're going to cultivate, only exists in the present moment. So we're going to start with sinking the chi. Inhale as your palms float up. Exhale as they float down your center. Your awareness floats down through your body, detecting and releasing any tension. One more time to sink the chi. Then inhale up. This time as you exhale down, allow your knees to bend, sinking, sinking. Inhale up as you rise. Exhale out in front, around and down as you sink. And inhale up to chest height, a diamond shape. Exhale out and down as you sink. We'll do that routine one more time. Balancing our heart, taking this life, this world in a love embrace. Preparing ourselves to meet the remainder of the day with a caring and compassionate heart. Up to chest height, a diamond shape. Exhale out and don't sink as you exhale down. And do sink the chi. And bring your feet together. Sink the chi one last time. Your palms over your lower dantian. If your thumb is at the base of your navel, your palm will be over the lower dantian. Dantian's a storehouse for this chi energy. Just imagine your feet ascending roots down into the earth. Your upper body is lithe, supple, able to sway like a bamboo in the wind. Allowing yourself to tune in to this chi energy that's all around us. It's always moving. Just relax, let your body move however it wants to move. Side to side, forward and back, circular movements, undulations, however your body wants to move. Then back in the center, opening your arms and practicing this wonderful emotion of gratitude. Thank you, Source. Thank you, Universe. Thank you, God. Thank you for allowing us to dance on this earth for a short time in these human bodies. Thank you, God. Then inhale as you bring your palms together in front of your mouth. Open your palms, exhale into your open palms. Bring that breath to your heart. And meta means sending loving kindness out into the universe. And may all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be free from hunger. May all beings be truly happy. Namaste and thank you. And that's all.
Let's
I
come
will
together.
turn me off now.
Let's come together for our closing song.
I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God. We are the love of God. We are the power of God. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. Lord is
I have one, if you're counting in my belt. She's dressed, and somebody came in.